What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. If you're anything like me, you love playing random ass strategies, and in League, well, they can be few and far between. So here are 5 random builds that I had fun playing with. Now I'm not promising that they'll be good, but they have some potential, and you'll definitely have fun. I did for sure with all 5 of these, because there were a few builds that I tried out that didn't make it into the video because they just weren't that fun. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button, and if you don't enjoy the video, click the dislike, because if this video hits, let's say 8,000 ratings, I'll make a second one of these. Anyways, let's get started. Now the first one is actually the most fun I had playing League of Legends throughout all of Season 5, and it's AP Malphite in the mid lane. Although it got nerfed a bit with the preseason update, it's still not bad, and it's definitely still a blast. If you build for utility, it plays out kind of like a poor man's Twisted Fate that is much easier to play than Twisted Fate actually is, where you wait to hit 6 and then use your ultimate to constantly gank other lanes while maxing out on cooldown reduction. If you build a more burst focused build, it plays out kind of like an Annie mid, but with about 75% of the damage, but twice the range due to your ultimate. And if you have a decent lane matchup, you can bully people out pretty hard and get kills because of his targeted Q leading to a lot of free damage. And there's so many awesome moments where you're kind of just hanging out and someone turns around a corner and you're like, oh, you're dead. And the ganks are super easy because the range on the ultimate is ridiculous, to where half the time you can just walk through a ward or just walk straight into the lane and it doesn't matter at all. It's crazy how Malphite is considered one of, if not the most boring champion in the game by a lot of people, but I honestly had an insane amount of fun with this pick, and it revived my enjoyment in League of Legends, because there was about 6 months during Season 5 where I was just not enjoying the game anymore, but now I'm loving it, and I have AP Malphite to thank for that. The second one is starting to see a little bit of popularity at higher rankings of play, and it's AP Alistar in a solo lane. With the Frost Queen's Claim Rush into some more AP, this cow starts to put out some massive burst that is really just so hilarious in the game, and the income from Frost Queens makes the build super forgiving, and the active lets you get some nice plays, and you can pull off some awesome ganks that nobody really expects you to do, with the burst hitting for 1,000 damage with your combo on a short cooldown, since you got some cooldown reduction to back you up. His AP ratios are alright, but with Thunderlords, his early laning has improved a lot since last season. It's pretty cheesy, meaning that a lot of the power in it is just because people don't really expect it or don't know how to play against it, but that doesn't make comboing people for 1,000 damage any less hilarious than it actually is, and it's just so fun, and I personally had a lot of success with this pick, because once you get the hang of the WQ combo, Alistar actually becomes pretty easy to play for the most part, since you don't really need to CS very well, and your ganks are so good that at any point in time you want to, you can kind of just stop laning and go roaming non-stop. The third one starts to get a little bit into the crazy territory, and it's Quinn Jungle. And let me tell you, I have never seen a jungler with such a ridiculous amount of sustain at jungle camps. With just 2 points into your W, the ability heals for about half of your health sometimes, and you never really have to back if you don't want to. But he's definitely a super weird pick. I mean, the jungle items really aren't that good on him at all, so I just rushed to Rylai's to get some crowd control. But his counter ganks and skirmishes are amazing, since you can usually proc the triple Q for a big chunk of damage and heal a crazy amount with his W. It plays super weird and is kind of a ridiculous pick on paper, but in practice it's actually not that bad, and it's just so goofy that it ends up being a ton of fun. The fourth one is starting to become a meta pick, but it's still a lot of fun, and it's brand support. Now this is definitely the most competitive pick on this list, at least on paper. It was mostly fun for me though, because his laning phase is totally ridiculous, and the early game damage you can put out with almost no AP is really surprising. And after picking up a Sightstone, it's not that bad to build AP at all. With a Frost Queen's Claim, you get some awesome utility, and with some more items, you start to deal relevant damage, which is a great way to play support if you're someone who doesn't enjoy playing support. And even if you do enjoy playing support, you can appreciate the strength and power that Brand brings to the laning phase. His crowd control is alright, and his overall teamfighting is actually pretty good, since he has a lot of area of effect damage. With a Rylai's, he starts to get a lot of crowd control and still pack a punch, and so you end up with this damage focused pick that has a surprising amount of utility to back it up. The damage focused take on the support role is something that can be a lot of fun, and the power of brand support adds in a little bit of extra excitement too. The fifth and final one is a bit wacky, and I didn't like it as much as the other ones, but it's Quinn Jungle. As a more offensive take on the jungle role, Quinn brings a ton of damage and roaming power to the table. She plays out kind of like how you would expect an assassin in the jungle to, but with ridiculous roaming and therefore ganking ability. Once you get your ultimate, you're zipping around through the jungle at 700 move speed for the rest of the game, and that's hilarious. And you can gank lanes and pressure the map like no other champion in the game. No top laner in their right mind is ready to get ganked 20 seconds after they see the enemy jungler bottom, but those are the kind of plays that you can pull off with Quinn Jungle. And her W ensures that you won't get caught off guard in the jungle and can avoid invades and counter ganks with ease. The rework was kind to Quinn, and she currently is in quite a powerful spot, especially for solo queue, and taking her to the jungle can be a pretty fun take on Quinn as a champion. And that's just about it. Here are some of my favorite comments from a previous video where I asked, what thing you guys miss most from League of Legends? For a chance to be featured in a future video, leave a comment about what random build you think is the most fun to play. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Somebody does a paper, keep in mind we just skipped the ship well far along the way.